You've heard of a sock monkey, but how about a sock pig? Yep, me neither. At least until I was gifted this sock piggy craft kit by a company straightforwardly enough named Sock Creatures. And when I say gifted, I do mean gifted from a friend for a Secret Santa type situation. Not gifted from the company in return for saying nice things. Although, you know, if any companies out there do want to send me free stuff, you should know I'm very easily impressed and will definitely find a lot of nice things to say. Email me. Anyway, I've been holding onto this kit for a few weeks now, and I think it is finally time to jump in. It's a little different to the kind of thing we usually cover on this channel, but hey, that's half the fun of being a multi-crafter, right? Come with me, and let's see what we've got in the bag. Alright, let's have a look. The Sock Piggy kit says it includes everything we need apart from scissors, although as a newbie to kits, I'm a little bit skeptical about that. Nevertheless, I've got my trusty scissors here, and I've brought this pretty little yarn ball as well to use as a bin. Whether or not it'll actually help me make less mess remains to be seen, but let the record know I am trying. Okay, I'm gonna rip this baby open and see what's what. Ooh, exciting. We have instructions, always useful. And what's the... Oh, it's a little card to fill in with all of your piggy's details. Name, birthday... Right, confession time. I am really bad at naming things, so assuming we make something worth naming by the end, I might need your help there. The all-important socks. These are cute, I kind of want to just keep them. Maybe I could find some less good ones to substitute. No. Bad Michelle. Do the crafts. Blue felt and pink thread and some sort of plastic thing in there. Oh, and a needle too. Maybe this is actually going to be everything I need. I don't know. And last but not least, a decent whack of polyfill. That's going to be one fat piggy if we use all of this. Don't need the bag anymore. Are we still saying yeet? Now for the fun part! Reading the instructions. Yeah. Ooh, there's a template as well to get the right size for the ears and legs. That'll probably come in handy. Okay, I'm going to read through these until they sink in, and then I'll meet you back here. Step 1. Cutting into the precious sockses. I know this is irrelevant, and I know these were made by machine, but do any other knitters ever find yourselves looking at things like socks really close up and imagining how long it would take you to knit them at that gauge? No? No, me neither. This feels wrong, but I'm just gonna trust the instructions and choppy chop chop. No going back now. I'm gonna need the pink thread, so let's sort that out before I go any further. Also the plastic thing, which it turns out that's a squeaker. There's the thread and oh, there's buttons in here as well. Right, I'm gonna thread this needle off screen because it's really hard with these nails on and I don't want to humiliate myself any more than absolutely necessary. BRB. The instructions say to fill the foot half of our chopped up sock with polyfill. There's no indication of how full it should be exactly, but let's just kind of see how it goes. Nearly forgot to put the squeaker in. I am doing a stunning job as per usual. That's definitely nowhere near enough stuff in, but I want the squeaker to stay in the middle, so let's see if I can sort of shove more in around the edges, if you see what I mean. You know what? This is not working at all. Let's start again, and editing Michelle can take that part out if she's feeling generous. This is at least twice as much stuff in now, I reckon. Get that squeaky lad right in the middle, and I'm just gonna scrunch this up and hope for the best. What even is this? It is the sight of me absolutely nailing it, that's what. Get in there, go on. Get in. I wonder if it still needs stuffing even more. There's a pretty big empty section at the back there. Let's see if I can sort of massage things into shape a bit. This pink section at the end will become the piggy's nose. See? Felt nostrils on the end, and then his button eyes and his ears will be on the outside bit at the top. It'll all make sense soon, I hope. This reminds me a little bit of when I was little and I was convinced a haggis was an animal that lived up mountains in Scotland. For whatever reason, I imagined them with this sort of body shape. Shut up, I was like 6. I am so easily amused. Okay, I'm just gonna leave the stuffing like this. I think that seems big enough for a good piggy. Plan is to sew up the flap at the end, and then the other bit of sock goes over everything with the cuff at this end to make the nose. The instructions definitely assume some level of skill with sewing things to other things, which I barely have at the best of times, and certainly not when I'm wearing ridiculous nails, so I'm basically just going to try my best. First insurmountable task, threading the needle. Nailed it. Pun not intended. Although I do have a bit of a confession. I had to lick the thread, I'm sorry. I choose to believe this is good enough. Thankfully, it doesn't really matter with this one since the seam will get covered up anywhere, so let's just move on. Good news! The squeaker is still fully operational. Alright, let's get this second sock on and see what's what. It's going to bring it all together and make it make sense. Please make it make sense. This is starting to look a little bit rude if I'm honest, but hopefully that's just going to be an awkward phase. The problem I'm having, see, you can see the stripes from the inside sock through the outside sock, so I need to faff with this a bit and try and get the stripes tidy or I will never be able to move on with my life. Bear with. Right, that's a lot better, but new problem. I reckon I was definitely supposed to stuff the inside sock more because there is a lot of extra sock flapping about at the back here. I think I'll probably need to trim that down before sewing it shut because otherwise it's just going to be a shambles. If you ever started a craft project genuinely thinking it's going to be super easy and just a fun childlike activity, only to be thwarted at every turn by your own incompetence. Yeah, that. Let's just commit to it and keep going. It'll probably all work out in the end. Only just remembered I'm supposed to be putting all of the mess in this yarn ball bin. The room needs hoovering anyway, it's fine. Here goes nothing. Trimming this so only a bit of pink stripe remained was a mistake. It looks like a horrific wound that's been hastily sewn shut but will still almost certainly result in gangrene further down the line. Also, there's bits of sock fuzz falling out at what I would call an alarming rate. Ta-da! If anything, it gets ruder and more suggestive every time I look at it. Let's get some features on this thing ASAP. Now, I'm not going to claim to fully understand the next bit of the instructions, but let's just go with it one step at a time. Turn the other sock inside out. Check. And then, what? Sorry, I'm reading the instructions from where they're propped up off screen, but I'm so easily confused. This calls for closer study. So I'm supposed to make the outline of these template shapes on the inside out sock using running stitch. According to the diagram, ears go on the foot, one here, and one here, and then the legs go up the leg. And then once these are all done, you cut round the shapes on the outside of the stitching and turn them back the right way. But surely that's going to leave gaps in between the stitches. It does specify running stitch and the diagram shows it as well, so I'm going to go with that, but I'm not feeling good about it. I don't really know if you can see where I'm stitching here, but basically I'm just eyeballing it and trying to get it somewhat close to the size and shape of the template. The instructions do say that the template is optional, so it can't be that important, right? One shape down, 5 more to go. I'll hold it up a bit so you can see what on earth I'm talking about. This looks like the picture they've provided, but I just don't really understand what's to stop all of the stuffing coming out of the holes between stitches. Never mind, I'm gonna get on. Let's meet back when they're all done. Just like magic. See, here I've got the 2 ears on the foot end and 4 legs on the leg end. I didn't really think that sentence through. Anyway, the diagram showed the legs being in different directions, but surely if you want the stripes to turn out the same on each one, you need them all to face the same way. So I've officially deviated from the pattern. I guess we'll see what horrible ramifications that has later. Next task is to cut them all out. Turn them back inside in and lightly stuff them, but as I said, very skeptical about this. So I'm just going to cut one out as a test first, and if that doesn't work, there's plenty more fabric I can use to start over. And now for the bit where it becomes clear I should definitely add a point turner to my birthday wish list sometime soon. Yeah, okay, everything about this is a mess. Look at the state of the sides. You're supposed to sort of pinch it together to make the ear shape like this, but that would leave these raggy edges on show. I must have misread something here, that can't possibly be right. Let me just try sticking a bit of polyfill in to show willing. Hang on. Let's have another look at the picture on the bag, maybe that'll make more sense. Okay, that sort of looks right in terms of the stripes going kind of horizontal, so there's that at least. But the seams in the picture are nice and tidy, so this is definitely wrong. Huh. Okay, new plan because to be honest I'm a bit annoyed and also it's starting to get dark in here now. I'm going to sack this off, take it downstairs, reread the instructions and whatnot and see if I can't do it better the second time around. We'll reconvene tomorrow when hopefully my crafting skills will have come out of hiding and we can get this pig-o finished. Oh. Good night. Huh. I wrote in my notes that I should put a call to action here. So you know, like, subscribe, that whole deal. I do all kinds of crafts and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Okay, back to it. Welcome back. It is a new day and much less head up and I'm happy to report I've fixed the ears. Look at that lovely neatish seam there. That seems like the best I can ask for at this point. Basically, I'd done two things wrong. First, my running stitch was too loose, and second, I cut too close to the stitching. Unfortunately, this ear is now too small, so I'll have to do another one, but that's fine. I'm just glad I figured it out before cutting everything out. So I'm just going to get on and restitch all of these, and look, I've brought an Apple pencil today, which should, in theory, make a better point turner than my scissors. What a pro! Going over the existing stitches with smaller, tighter stitches. I wouldn't say this is entirely my fault because if you take the instructions literally, the diagram does have pretty big stitches. But I should have followed my heart, I knew that wasn't going to work, it's just common sense. One down, time for the rest. I have no idea if you can even see a difference, but you know what, I set up that transition and I'm not letting it go to waste now. Also, that whole thing looked like very little work, but I actually managed to listen to the whole Council of Elrond chapter. That's how long it takes me to sew. That bloody Saruman, am I right? I'm definitely a little bit nervous to cut these out, but I'm just going to have to get it over and done with. Worst case scenario, if it still doesn't work, I can cut ears and feet out of the blue felt instead. So either way, we'll get an approximation of a finished pig. So much sock fluff. Moment of truth, let's see if I can turn this right side round without it going horribly wrong and splitting the stitches. It's fiddly because the sock fabric falls to bits if you tug on it too hard, so, you know, no pressure. The Apple pencil was definitely a good choice. Right. Apart from two of them having this one row of red stitches that I am inexplicably hesitant to trim off, those all look pretty good. They sort of match, which again I am counting as a definite success. Onto the ears. I did trim a bit around the point of the ears to make this part easier, but results are kind of mixed. One is definitely pointier than the other, but On the bright side, I'm definitely proud of past me for thinking to bring this yarn bulb in. Usually this stuff all just goes on the floor. Stuffing the legs very gently because to be honest I'm still scared the seams are going to pop open any second now. Not only am I not sure where they should go, I also have no faith in my ability to sew them in the intended spot. So we'll probably just have to see where they end up. That looks okay to me. Let's go for it. Not gonna lie, this reminds me of a tardigrade more than anything else. You know, just with less legs. The back one's splayed out a bit more than intended, so he ends up sort of sitting slightly when I put him down. You can't see properly from there. Hang on, I'll grab my phone camera. Yeah, I don't think that's anatomically correct. Now for the ears. I feel like the positioning of these will either make it or break it, like if they're too high up maybe it'll look like a deformed rabbit instead of a pig. That's actually not terrible, I think. Just needs a second one on. Bosh. If only it was that easy in real life. The Fellowship have left Rivendell now, and honestly I'm a little bit worried by Elrond's warning about the Shire, but it'll probably be fine. Onto the button eyes. This is so tricky. If there's a knack to it, I definitely haven't discovered it yet. And now the felt bits. For some reason I'm very reluctant to cut the template pieces out, so let's just see if I can freehand this tail. Close enough. There's no real indication of how to attach this, but I'm aware that most people just want to put their own spin on the creative activity and are less prone to panicking when there's something not listed in the instructions, so I'm going to try and go with the flow. It's fair to say we'll mostly be looking at him from the front, right? So let's just stick it on anywhere that looks good from here. Yeah, it's on a wonk, but that just makes him unique. Oh, look at this. It's definitely all coming together now. He's definitely all coming together now. I don't know, he just seems like a boy to me. And don't worry, because he's signalled that he's okay with that. Only thing left to do now is the nostrils, and then we're finished. So I guess I'll be turning off the camera now, and you'll just have to wait for the dramatic reveal. See you on the other side. Yes, once again I think it's fair to say that a simple craft project has, in my incompetent hands, involved much more difficulty and confusion than it really should. But honestly, that's really on me. My lack of experience with craft kits and with sewing in general, and my insistence on wearing huge false nails that make everything way more difficult than it should be. I actually quit biting my nails a few years back, but I relapsed during the pandemic. And if this video has taught me one thing, it's I really need to get back on the horse. So, I hereby swear to put more effort into quitting again so that I can thread needles and do fiddly things on camera without shame. You heard it here. Enough nail talk, I took them off today anyway, so let's just fall back on my usual method of holding things in such a way that you can't see the worst of it. Sock pig! Like basically everything I make, this little guy is not without his flaws, but like basically everything I make, I absolutely love him. There is still one outstanding task though. We need to give you a name. Dave already had one suggestion, but it was very rude and I shan't repeat it here. So if you have any better ideas, please do leave them down in the comments. He is going to take pride of place on the crafting shelves for a while and await your naming genius. Now, I don't really have anything to compare it to given my lack of craft kit experience, but this one was genuinely enjoyable to do with the obvious exception of my own stupid mistakes. And it came with a ton more thread, felt and polyfill than I actually needed, so if I wanted, I could find another pair of socks and a couple of buttons and I could make a whole second pig out of this stuff. Of course I won't, those bits will go into the stash for use 10 years from now in some kind of random craft emergency, but that's not the point. That's it for this week. If all goes to plan, I will be kicking off a new series on the channel next week, but you know what I'm like, so don't hold your breath. I'll see you soon for however that turns out. In the meantime, have a brilliant rest of your day, and keep making cool stuff. Bye!